I just don't get it.
What?
All of this public school finance stuff.
What's so hard to understand? We have public schools. Schools cost beans. The beans comes from taxes. It's been this way for about 100 years.
Right, but the schools always seem to need more beans.
They do.
If I don't give them more beans, they say they will take away the good stuff that helps my kids learn.
They will.
That's what I don't understand.
Well, it's just the way that the system is set up.
The system?
Yes, the system. The educational system in America was designed to provide basic academic life skills to many people so that our society would be better. First, we built a school in every township. Then, we made schooling compulsory.
Meaning, everyone must go?
Yes. If everyone must attend school, we need lots of teachers. A long time ago, teachers were hired and fired very casually. If you were a female teacher, we could pay you a few beans. If you were a male teacher, we could pay you a pot full of beans. If you had taught for a long time, you might be too expensive for us, so we would fire you and find a cheap teacher. If you were the prettiest teacher, we would fire the ugly one and hire you.
That's not fair.
No, it wasn't. So, next, the teachers got together to protect themselves against the unfairness. They started a teachers' union.
Did that help?
Yes, it helped a lot. The teachers paid dues to the union. The union watched out for the teachers' interests and protected against the unfairness. The union used collective bargaining to make teachers' salaries less arbitrary. But after a while, we really didn't need those kinds of protections for teachers.
Why not?
Because the United States passed federal civil rights laws that protected all people from unfair treatment because of their age, gender, ethnic background, political affiliation and hair color.
Hair color?
No, not really hair color.
So, did the unions go away once we passed civil rights laws?
No. They found ways to provide services to the teachers, so that the teachers would keep paying their dues. Those dues also support the state and national teachers' unions, which pour money beans into lobbying for lucrative educational laws and campaigning for certain candidates who like unions.
Lucrative laws?
Well, like the law which requires newer teachers to be fired before longer-serving teachers. This is called seniority.
I don't see a problem. Isn't a teacher who's been teaching for a long time more experienced and better than a brand new teacher out of college who has no experience?
That's a nice idea, but life just doesn't always work out that way. Yes, some teachers improve as the years go by, and they provide great educations for all of their students. But some just get tired, or figure out that they should be selling insurance. They keep teaching anyway, because it's hard to argue with the beans they're taking home. Some new teachers bring great energy and talent to a learning environment, in spite of the fact that they don't have much experience. To say that the first person hired is a better teacher than the last one employed isn't fair at all. When a school district is short on beans and has to reduce the teaching force, the seniority law requires us to fire the newest teacher first, even if they're the best one we have.
How is that lucrative for the other teachers?
It protects them based on when they were hired, and regardless of what kind of job they are doing. Once you're in the system long enough, you know you're probably too senior to be let go.
Is that the same thing as tenure?
No, tenure is different.
Let me guess, tenure is a lucrative law too?
Yes, it is. Originally, tenure was created to protect university professors who would come up with new, or unproven, or unpopular ideas to teach. Once a professor was tenured, he could not be fired for publishing or teaching a groundbreaking idea. As in, the earth is round, or all men are created equal.
So, tenure protects public school teachers like that too?
Not really. There are very rare instances of academic tenure being necessary to protect public school teachers these days.
Why is that?
Because curriculum and instructional methods have become so standardized. State and national educational standards, which must be met, direct much of a teacher's instructional focus. Teachers select the books, to assign for reading off of a pre-approved list of materials. School boards determine which textbooks to use. There aren't very many risky decisions a teacher must make.
So, what is the function of tenure for public school teachers?
Teachers that qualify for tenure, based on years of service, can only be fired for just cause. Basically, it guarantees them a job for life.
For life?
Okay, unless they do something stupid, like steal school property. But otherwise, yes. For life.
But eventually, teachers have to retire.
Yes, that's true. After 30 years of teaching, no matter how old they are, teachers can retire and start collecting their pensions for the rest of their life.
What's a pension?
It's a way to provide a guaranteed income to a person once they have stopped working.
Oh, so it's like a 401k.
Not at all. A 401k fund is invested and fluctuates with the market. You aren't guaranteed any certain amount of income. A teacher's pension is guaranteed to be a percentage of their 3 highest years of salary, regardless of the state of the economy. School districts make negotiated contributions toward the pensions.
A pension that lasts for the rest of their life? Now that sounds lucrative.
Indeed. Originally, the idea behind the pension was a good one. Teachers really didn't make much money 50 years ago. It really was hard for them to support a family and be able to afford retirement. The idea of the pension was to offset those low salaries.
But something changed.
Indeed. Today, seasoned teachers are not paid low salaries. To stay relevant, the unions advocated for better salaries, better benefits, step increases, and continuing education allowances. These last two things go together. An employed teacher with a bachelor's degree can return to school to earn an advanced degree. The district he or she works for will pay most, if not all, of the cost.
Sweet deal.
It gets better. For every class finished, and every year worked, the teacher receives a step increase that is added to his or her base salary.
Well, doesn't that make sense? If a teacher has more education, aren't they going to do a better job and deserve more pay?
Perhaps. But, just because you go to law school, it doesn't make you a good lawyer. Similarly, just because one earns an advanced degree doesn't necessarily mean there will be any change in their students' learning. Nonetheless, step increases occur automatically.
So, why doesn't our school district just get rid of them?
We can't. These are lucrative state laws. But our local district can control the amount of increase given to the increases.
Oh, you mean that the local district can decide that there will be no cost of living or inflation increase for those automatic step increases?
Exactly.
Can the local district control the increases in base pay?
Absolutely. The local district can decide that base pay will be reduced, flat, stepped, capped, or some other fancy thing. And the district can freeze increases to those base pay amounts for inflation, or whatever.
So, do they?
Not if they can avoid it. It could upset the union. If the union gets upset, it will agitate the teachers. If the teachers are agitated, they might not want to work. If they don't work, how will all of those kids required to go to school get an education? This requires a lot of beans.
And you haven't even told me about the benefits.
Like having 2.5 months off per year? Or having cheap medical benefits and vision plans? Well, most jobs permit 2 or 3 weeks, not months, of paid vacation time. And paid sick days are available only if you use them. Healthy teachers, however, can collect all the beans they would have been paid for sick days that they don't use.
For real?
It's not all crazy. Just like many full-time jobs, health insurance premiums may be covered in part, or in full. But usually, districts cover most of those costs.
For real?
I know, that's not how it works for people in regular jobs. I pay my full health care premium. I don't get paid for unused sick days. My employer will match a contribution that I make into my 401k fund. That fund has performed poorly these last few years, but maybe it will get better by the time I retire. I had to take a pay cut or else lose my job, because other people can do it, if I won't. And, if I do a mediocre job at work, I do not get an automatic raise. I have to show that the work I produce is worthy of any bonus I am paid. Meanwhile, I have to pay taxes to support the system. It's okay, this is just real life.
It doesn't sound okay to me. Let me get this straight. Our country thinks education is good for everybody. When everybody goes to school, we need teachers. Teachers used to be treated unfairly, so they unionized. Now, we treat employees fairly, but the unions didn't go away. Instead, they found ways to make teaching a very lucrative vocation by protecting long-time employees, guaranteeing jobs for life, providing guaranteed income at retirement for life, and systematizing salary increases based on showing up. The vast majority of our employed citizens don't get this kind of deal. And all of this stuff takes more beans this year than it did the year before. To get the beans, the districts assess new taxes.
Yes, in a nutshell.
But when we pay more beans to a teacher, don't we get better education?
Not necessarily. American spending on public education, adjusted for inflation, has more than doubled in the last 3 decades. Most of the beans go to compensation increases for teachers. What did the taxpayers get for those beans? Not much of a difference in education. The average math and reading scores of American 17-year-olds have not improved since the early 1970s.
So why don't the taxpayers vote down the new taxes?
Sometimes they do. But that's a problem for the system, and therefore, for the students.
I don't get it.
The system is not set up to go backwards. There is no way to undo a raise or step increase when the district is out of beans. If the taxpayers will not give them more beans, in the form of a levy, the district will take it away from the students, by getting rid of stuff that helps them learn.
Yes, I have heard them say that before. I told you so.
Right. Well, now you know why districts say those things.
Huh.
What?
We have talked about all of these school finance issues without talking about how it impacts the students. Education. Learning.
Of course. That's how the system works. Don't worry. Someone will come along with new ideas. Technology will make the system change.
When?
I don't know.
How?
I don't know.
Well, is it okay just to wait?
Waiting is safe.
Waiting is safe. Waiting is easy. Waiting is not going to protect my kids' education. I will do something.
What will you do? You are alone. There are many teachers, many districts, many unions, many lucrative laws. What can you do?
You and I are not the only 2 people talking about this.
How can you be sure?
Because it is all over the news, all over the country. It's even on Oprah.
Well, then, see? There are enough people working on it. You can just wait.
No. I have figured something out while we were talking. It is not okay to sit back and let other people do the work for my benefit. I am going to help myself, and help others. I am going to find a school reform group for my state. I am going to find one for my district. I am going to write to my legislators. And then, I am going to bring understanding to others, so that, as a group, we can get everything straightened out for the students.
And I hope you do.